The United States, with Secretary Blinken, has a working group put together, as well as the UK and David Cameron, who is right now the Foreign Secretary, former Prime Minister, are working on the moment the war is over, that Israel declares the war over against Hamas, that they will recognize a Palestinian state. Now, will that be done at the United Nations? Will that be done officially through a process? Is that going to be done unilaterally by, again, two of the more important countries in the world because they sit on the permanent seats on the UN Security Council? I mean, the fact that we're even saying this, I mean, imagine this is what the Biden administration is working on right now after 3 U.S. troops get killed.
Horrible for the United States or the UK to recognize a so-called Palestinian state, a state of Palestine. And we regularly send letters to the UN Security Council, which actually has the authority to recognize a state at the United Nations. And like you said, typically the U.S. and the U.K., which are permanent members, have the power to veto any such, attempt to become a state. So we literally every month there's a new president at the head of the UN Security Council. We send a letter. We point out the problems. That first, President Abbas, who is now like West Bank, not Hamas in the Gaza Strip, but he refuses to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. And then Palestine does not meet, we always point out that they do not meet the customary international law requirements for statehood. And we go on in our letter and point out the atrocities that happened on October 7th, specifically saying, additionally, in light of the barbaric Hamas attacks on October 7th, on innocent men, women, and children, the PA clearly cannot control a large portion of the so-called state of Palestine, including Hamas terrorists whose goal remains the total elimination of the state of Israel. We go on and we just point out line by line what the problems are by recognizing a state of Palestine. It has to be negotiated between Israel and the Palestinians.
Yeah. What a slap in the face to Israel, though.
Yes.
I mean, in the middle of this, at a time when it's like Israel's having to defend its right to exist, and there's a huge march in D.C. today, that this is giving encouragement to those marchers and to these individuals, these college campuses, who believe that what happened on October 7th was somehow justified.
We have historically never acknowledged a so-called state of Palestine, and there are specific legal reasons for that. And you've been so articulate to point a lot of those out, that there isn't a government, there aren't specific borders, that they don't have the capacity to conduct international relations. And the fact that they are literally terrorists, that is who is in control of these regions.
There is no positive solution through the notion of creating yet another Arab terror state, and this one literally in the heartland of the Jewish territory. Let's remember, because you had a previous caller who asked about the creation of the state of Israel. Well, the creation of the state of Jordan happened at the same time, and the state of Jordan sits right now on what was recognized universally as 80% of the Jewish national home, which was given to the Arabs for a state. Well, they threw all the Jews out, as opposed to Israel, which was never accepted, but managed to survive the war launched on it by Jordan and others. And it kept its Arabs as citizens, and they're very much exactly the same as their Jewish citizens. And so the idea of creating yet another Arab terror state is anathema. It will destroy any hope for stability in the Middle East.
We're going to be on this issue too now, not just at the UN, which we're on every single month, literally, but with the United States government and with Congress too. As Jeff said, you're looking at the constitutional issues and this recognition, a potential move that the U.S. and U.K. seem to be working on together as permanent members of the Security Council. So you want to go to aclj.org. We've got an awesome video there too at aclj.org/defend Israel on the myth of Palestine too, which you can share. We encourage you to share with your friends and family at aclj.org/defend Israel.